Hello, this is Richard from Precision Transmissions. What we've got is a customer's 2005 6.0 with a 4R100 tranny with a converter problem with not wanting to move in the morning, and come in with a TPS code and a converter clutch slippage code. If you notice here, the transmission has been built before because this is an aftermarket torque converter, but you can see the band right here where it burnt the clutch in the torque converter right here. See? Well, with that TPS code like that, this clutch was probably pulsating on and off and causing this clutch or torque converter to overheat and burnt this clutch plumb out of it right there. So anytime you have a TPS code on a diesel, you want to address it really quick. But you can see it just cooked it. So let's get this out. This tranny stinks really bad, has a lot of burnt fluid, you can see it.
A little bit of metal, yeah. Yeah, y'all see that.
You can just see that band where it cooked it right there. Now this transmission, being that it's a 2-wheel drive and it's a 3500 series, the speed sensor's in the rear end and they just put a plug here. So normally there could be a speed sensor here, or if you had a 4-wheel drive with a transfer case, it would be in the transfer case. So let's get this apart and see what type of damage we have. This is your neutral safety switch here. Whenever you put in park, neutral, or reverse, this switch right here is what works when you move your shifter. Get this off here. If you ever replace one of these switches right here, what you do is you put this shifter right here in neutral, and then you line these two lines up right here. See these two lines right here? You line them up, and then you tighten these bolts down right here. But you put the transmission in neutral, and that's how you install that.
Sorry, no one's taking the leak. We got some draining going on.
Now this here is the parking assembly on this tranny right here. When you move the shifter, get that back on there. You can see this right here work and push this out right here against that. And then when it turns, it locks into park. Pull it out, put it back in, locks into park. Pretty simple. This tranny has been into once before, being that or it's had a torque converter replaced in it. It's got a pretty sexy orange fan here.
I know that added some power to it.
Yeah. Kind of look in here and see. A lot of trash on the magnet. See all that.
That's really nice.
Now this is a 2-wheel drive. It does have a shallow neck filter right here. 4-wheel drive filters and necks are about this long. Some of the filters are a little thicker too, just depending on what brand it is. We got some 10mm nuts right here that on the alignment studs that when you put these on here, it lines everything up. And then the rest of these are 8mm. get these off, and then I'll explain basically where all this stuff is.
Probably could have had another bolt in there somewhere.
Yeah, there's plenty of room. Now this here is your accumulator valve body right here that controls your shift feel. Right here. Get this off, flip this over, give you an idea of what it's like. This is our two-stage systems. What they got is a valve and a spring right here that moves. And then there's another valve and a spring right here that moves. So the fluid has to push this valve moves, and lets fluid get in behind this valve and push it to soften your second gear shift, your third gear shift, and then your fourth gear shift.
Do that again. Which ones are which?
This is your 1, 2. I believe your 3, 4, and your 4th. Or excuse me, your 2, 3, and your 4th. Now this here is your reverse engagement control valve right here.
Look at that metal in there.
We always leave this spring out right here because it just lets it go into reverse really a lot quicker. These trannies have a little bit of a delay problem in reverse, and by leaving this spring out right here, it corrects that problem a bunch. So now this here is your solenoid pack right here. All the solenoids are built into this one unit right here. So if one goes bad, you have to replace this whole brick right here. Where on the 5R110s and stuff like that, they added solenoids all over the place so you can change individual ones. But the E40D and the 4R100 has one pack right here. So if one of them goes bad, you physically have to replace it. Each individual solenoids, you can see them there. Now this fluid was full of, this connector was full of fluid, so it has a problem in this connector. So we unplugged it, fluid come out of here, so it has all kinds of shorts just in the computer connector that plugs the computer into the transmission. So they'll do all kinds of things when they have that type of problem right off the bat. Now you see here we have some check balls here and here. Now in the later models they did add some here and here. So when you replace these parts, you want to really look at things if you're replacing parts. So these valve body gaskets too, they'll have 2 sets in a kit. You want to match them up really good. And a really easy way to tell what they look like is you'll have 2 holes here, and you'll have another hole here, a third hole. So as long as you match a 2-hole to a 2-hole or a 3-hole to a 3-hole, you'll be fine. So just remember that when you're tearing one of these down and matching them up. And you also want to make sure you get your case gasket on the bottom and your valve body gasket on the top, because if you vice versa them, you'll have a leak right back here where this gasket is if you put them on wrong. You'll have a leak right back in here in your reverse circuit and have a delay in reverse. So you want to watch that. So this is your engine brake band servo right here that applies your band. Foot gets behind there and pushes it. When I get the band out, I'll show you what it looks like. And then we had this 3-bolt plate that bolted back here on that plate. Just a second, we didn't show you. Now we go build these trannies back, we'll air test them through some of these circuitry holes here, here, here. There's another one down here, and there's another one down here. And then back in here where all this fluid is, there's actually one that applies this clutch right here too. This is your low reverse clutch right here. Let me see if I can blow some fluid in there. Now, you can see me blow air in here and see this piston work now. We install a lot of shift kits in these, and we've learned that this tranny has a reverse delay problem right off the bat. So this reverse stricter that comes in these kits right here, we leave them out. We don't put them in because I've installed them before, and the customer bring the vehicle back of causing a delay in reverse. We take it out and it cures the problem. So you do what you want to do, but that's our experience with them. Now, also too, I just wanted to show, I did check with this filter right here. These filters come with a seal on the neck already. And if you look down in here, when they did the service on it, they stacked 2 filter rings together like that. And when you bolt the pan down, it'll break the filter right through here when you do that if you ain't careful. So you want to make sure you pull that ring out of there and get that out of there, because that's where that goes. And when you put 2 of them in there, this bottoms out against the pan, and it'll break that, crack that right there if you ain't careful.
Dang, that's a good one. That's funny.
There's the second one right there.
Small things.
Yeah, that's the little stuff that'll get you. Well, you can see all the different check balls here. Here, 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 and here. Now, the 3-hole valve body plate that I was showing you over there, if it has 3 holes, it will not have a check ball here. It'll have this trough sitting right here, but it will not have this check ball. If you put that check ball there, you cause a problem. So you really want to be careful. Mark your check balls really good, and look for that 3-hole plate gasket or whatever right there. Now we have our lockup ring right here on the end of the stator. Right here. It's a split cut ring. Do not leave it off. This tranny's been so hot that you can tell it's already been leaking out the front a little bit from the converter not locking up and boiling the fluid. You can see the trail of how it's trailed down through here and caused the dirt and stuff like that.
Yeah, you can see it.
We'll get this apart. Work at it to get that out, but
Well, elbow grease.
Get this pump apart here. Now this does have a shift kit pump spring in it already. I can see it in there. But I'll show you the difference between we're already doing a few of these this week and last week. I'll show you the difference if it Now, Ford has built this pump 4 times in its lifetime. They've changed it up and did multiple versions of this. Now, this is a non-lockup or non-PWM style pump. It's just your standard lockup pump. It just comes on and off automatically. If you want to make lockup a little bit firmer, you can drill this cut plug out right here, and it'll firm it up lockup. And then your shift kit will come with a new spring that goes right here in this valve right here. Okay, now when you do a diesel or gas unit, they made these gears bigger or smaller depending on diesel or gas, and they made these holes smaller or bigger. The first gas design, the pump gear was really small and the holes were small, and then on the diesel, they didn't make the gear big enough, and